So in the last video, I showed how to do some AI generation with the XTool Studio, and on one of my sublimation videos, Mark Cleary asked if I could do a video on doing the picture frames, because I had done picture frames like this, and I did another one on acrylic, and I did a whole video on that. So what I did was, in this video, I'm going to show how I did the prompts for getting the picture frame, and I'm going to show you real quick. This is what I came up with. I made a frame from the castle that I did the paint engraving on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to come up with the prompts to create your own picture frame like this, and some things to do when editing it and cutting it out. I'm going to go over sublimating it onto the wood. I also did a little engraved one, which I think came out pretty good. I'll zoom in on these a little bit better in a second. But this video is going to cover editing, AI generation, and basically covering the picture frame, not just anything. And I didn't do this one in steampunk. I don't know why. I got sidetracked, but this is what we ended up with. And any of your prompts will work with steampunk too. So this is what we got. Here we go. So this is the window that we want to basically make into two pieces. So the window is 23.5 high and 14 wide. And it's got this trim piece that goes over the top of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to split this window in half, and then we're going to make a three-piece back for it for our sublimation. And this piece here, we're going to break down into several pieces also. What I want this piece to be is when we find where our split point is on this, we're going to make this one at a different split point so that it overlaps our joint. So next we'll take this window and we'll split it in half. Okay, so we picked a point where we're going to split this window. And I was going to try to split it so that it was at the tips of all of these, but then it got into a whole bunch of other stuff. And I've already tried this, so it works. So this is where we're going to go. Now to do this, before we do that, we're going to make a copy of this whole thing. So we're going to turn this to orange. Then we're going to pick black. Well, didn't pick it. Pick black. There we go. And we're going to go copy. We're going to paste it. And we're going to line this one up exactly with that one like that. And we're going to make another square going this way and exactly the same point as that one. So these two are exactly the same. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and we're going to hit subtract. And then we're going to take this one. Oops, hang on. Take this one and we're going to hit subtract. And there are our two halves to the window. And when you put those together, there's a seam, but that's the perfect two halves of the window. Okay, so the next thing we had was we had a trim piece. We had some trim pieces and things. So I'm going to bring those in, design on that. Oh, and one more piece. I made a thicker sill. So we're going to copy that. And bring that over here. We're going to paste it. These designs, some of these I have days and days in, but it's all part of the fun, right? Okay, so there's our sill. And then these are our two uprights. And what I did was I made these so that they're pretty straight. As you can see, I made this so that it would be I really don't need to see this in perfection, but I made this so that this piece would overlap the two. So when you put this piece on, come on, get on there. It makes a lap over the other two. So that's our main design here. Then what we have to do is we have to have a back for it. And on that, what I had to do was I had to make it in 3 pieces so that none of the seams lined up too close. So to do that, basically what I did was, which I didn't leave a copy of that on here. Always try to leave yourself a copy of your original. Okay, so this isn't exactly this is our original, so we've got to redo the 23.5. We've got to unlock it, and we've got to make it 14. Okay, so we've got this. Now what we don't want is everything in it. So we're going to release the compound vector. We're going to slide that off. We're going to delete this. And what we want is we want 3 pieces that fall inside of that area there. So this is what our actual window looks like. And the green is going to be our 3-piece segment when we're done. So in order to do this, we've got to put that over the top of it. We've got to make a rectangle. And we're going to make a rectangle that goes basically right to the center of these windows. Okay, and then we're going to take this and move it out of here. And we're going to make a copy of this. We're going to paste it. We're going to line it up nice and even with that one. So now we want to take this one and we want it lined up perfect with that. And this is going to be our next segment, but this one here, we don't want this seam running through the middle of these for the backer. So we're going to put this over the top of this. And obviously you're not going to be making the exact same thing I'm making, but this is just to show you how you can segment something like this and make it fall in where you want. Now, on our square here, we are doing sublimation, so we don't want this to be wider than 8.5. This one here, we're just doing the window, so it doesn't matter. This is less than 8.5 between here. But this here, we don't want wider than 8.5. So you would want this piece to basically fall in line with this. So we've got to take this, we've got to click on it, we've got to make it a compound vector, which it already is. We're going to hit edit, and we're going to stay inside of this boundary. So what we want to do is we want to make a point on the line here. And we're going to, actually we don't. We want to make our point right on this line right here. So we're going to cut this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to drag it across here. So we're going to go here, here, here. There, there. Something like that. And that, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but what you want to do is you want to, basically you want to tie these two together. So you want to take this and you want to move it to, just make sure you don't change your outer dimensions too much. So you might want to, when you're doing some of this, you might want to put a tie point right as close to there as you possibly can to keep that arc when you clip this. And then you can move this to there. and that's joined. And then for here, it doesn't really have to be perfect. You just don't want anything like this here where this is in there. So we're going to take this one and we're going to pull that one down like that. Straighten that one up a little bit. It's not hitting that, so we're good. Okay, so that's, just make sure we're all, if I straighten that out a little bit, just, I don't know if it matters. It doesn't really matter. It's just sometimes it's a little easier. Okay, so there's our segment. All right, so now what we've got to do is we've got to release the compound vector, excuse me, and get rid of that part up there. Okay, and that will be our next piece. And then we're going to copy this again, and we're going to paste it up here for now. So what we want to do is we want to make another box. This is where things get a little tricky, because you want to keep this part. So you want this box to line up perfectly with this box, just like that. Then we want to take this box and we want to delete it. And this, when we hit subtract, that's our first piece. This one here, I think all this extra clutter in here is going to cause an issue, but actually it doesn't matter. That's not part of this. And what we need to do is take this box and move it down. Make sure these are even. They're even. I'm going to move this box down even with, you'll get a red line. It's not always what you're actually trying to line up. That's what you're trying to line up. So here's our middle piece. That is our bottom piece. And now we just need to make a top piece. So what we want to do is we want to get these two grouped together. Copy them. We're going to paste them. And we're going to unite them. And we're going to put them over the top of this one. Make sure we get them lined up perfect. And I probably should change the color, but now I've zoomed in so far I can't see it. There we go. All right, I think we look pretty good. No, we don't. We don't look good at all. Move it over. Sometimes it's easier to do it on the bottom corner here. All right, I think we look good. Look good. Let's see what happens. I'm going to take this, and we're going to hit subtract. All right, we ended up with a little weirdness, but that's easy to fix. You just go in here, and you make sure that that's locked. You clip that. You clip that. And you go back to here. Yeah, put that to there. And we go delete, or we just hit done. You don't have to edit all of the other ones out. All you have to do is hit release compound vector and hold your shift key, and it's narrow, getting a there. Now we've got our three pieces for our back. So there's our three pieces for our back. These are our two pieces for here, and these are our front pieces. And what we're going to do is we're going to assemble this. I'll show how to assemble it, and then we're going to do a sublimation image on this piece here afterwards. So this is the upper half of our window. So being 23.5 inches, it goes pretty much to the top of our 12-inch maximum cut. And this is a 16.5-inch board, so we got a little room left over. But that's all cut out. And of course the S1 does a beautiful job on cutting through the 1/4-inch plywood. So there's our top piece, and we're going to go assemble the rest of it. So here are our two pieces. And as you can see, they line up perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little tape across where that seam is, and we're going to CA glue the seam together. And then I have another piece that's going to go, the other way, over where they basically overlap that seam. It's not a lot, but it's just a little bit to overlap it. And then we've got our frames for our windows, and then we'll be ready to paint. So what I want to do is I want to make sure everything stays together fairly decent. So I'm just going to put some CA glue across the tops of each one of these and join the two together. Okay, so we're going to take these two and we're going to put it, and I probably shouldn't have put those trim pieces on the front yet, but I think we'll be all right. I'm going to find my tape. What I want to do is I'm going to take this and lift it up so it's even. Just put a little tape on there. And actually, I don't even know that we need the tape. All we need to do is push this down, hit it with some activator, line it up, hit it with some activator. And it looks like everything's staying together really nice. Okay, so everything stayed together really good. And as you can see, I'm pulling, I can't pull it apart. So our next piece is going to be the piece that's going to go over the top of everything. And that's this piece here that's going to overlap everything. And it actually goes this way. So we're going to flip that over and glue that on. And I just use CA glue on this too because it's a narrow band. And with wood glue, you just have squeeze out everywhere. And with this, you get a little bit of squeeze out, you just clean it up real quick with a Q-tip. And on the inside, I'm not going to waste CA glue every square inch. We just want this to bond down and hold everything together. So we've got that together there. And that there. We're going to hit that with a little activator. When we get that lined up, we're going to hit that with some activator. Okay, so this is basically two pieces, but once we get everything glued together, just holding together, shake it around, hold them together really nice. Now when we glue our frames into this, that'll even hold it together better, and then we're ready to prime and paint it. Okay, so we've CA glued up our last center piece. Basically we're just going to line that up. Set it where it needs to be. I'm just going to hit it with a little no, don't need to CA glue that. It already set and it was a little off, but oh well. Once we paint it, a lot of that's gonna disappear. The only thing I did was I put these two on backwards. They're upside down. And it turns out this side is not exactly the same size as this one. So this one's a little narrow at the top, this one's a little wide. Okay, so somehow in the whole endeavor of this whole thing, I lost the video of me painting this. So I'm just gonna go, I had a piece that didn't come out quite like I wanted, so we're gonna use this, and I'm gonna show you just a quick couple tips on this. Basically what I do is I paint it with flat gray primer first, because if you paint it with primer before you put this granite paint on, it'll cover a lot better. For some reason, if you don't spray a primer on it, it kind of blows around and smears. It doesn't adhere as nicely. So I do gray primer, that way it's gray already. Then when you spray over that, it takes less of the granite to get a good coverage. That's what I think. So what I do is when I spray this, I make sure I spray it real good across this way, and then I'll turn it, and I'll spray across this way, and then I'll pull it out, and I'll do the exact same thing across the bottom and up this way and this way. Just light coat. That way you get all the black covered and everything covered in gray. Then when you go over it with the granite paint, if you miss a spot, it's already gray. Now, on this granite paint, or stone they call it, the Rustoleum stone texture finish, when you shake it, you don't get a rattle. This can's partially empty. This is a brand new can. You can shake this all day. I have never gotten a rattle out of these. Is that different? I don't know. I've never gotten a rattle out of it, but it always works. So if you're shaking to get a rattle, you're going to shake for a long time, because this one's nearly empty and there's no rattle. But when you spray this on, same basic idea. Go across this way, flip it around, and go back the other way. You might get a little on your fingers, but it gives a real nice finish. And I'll show you that in a second. So this is the evolution of my Gothic window design. I started out with this just to get an idea of what it looked like. Then I went with a 19-inch one that was basically the max I could do in the laser. And I wanted it a little bit bigger for that door. So here's the evolution of our Gothic window. I started out with this. I took a design that I bought, and I modified it to I wanted kind of a tree looking cutout, so I came up with this. And this was just engraved with this design. And I did this to see what it would look like. So then I wanted to see what the limits were on the S1. So this one is 19.5. That's the maximum you can make in one piece in the S1. And then this is our granite or stone paint job. And as you can see, that looks really nice with that layered stacking. I think that looks really sharp. Okay, so this is our full-sized window, all painted up. Now, this is where our seam is, joining these two pieces together. Actually, and you can kind of see right there, we've got a little bit showing. And I probably could have sanded that a little bit, but as you can see across there, all the rest of it I got perfect. So this is basically a 23.5-inch window by 14 inches wide. And I'll show you how to step back look in a second here. So I hope creating this Gothic window helped you out if you want to make something a little bigger than your laser can handle. If you like the video, give a thumbs up. Leave a comment, any thoughts on it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I've got new stuff coming all the time. This window here is going to become part of a door design. Nothing quite like Nerd Forge or anything like that, but it's going to be something different. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.